Hello everyone. Today I am going to explain some basic terminologies that are used in TestNg. Before going to TestNg, let's say you want to run a small logic, like you want to print hello world on the console. Okay. Normally using a Java file, how do you do that? By writing a main method, and you will write a logic in your main method, right? So first let me create a class and execute that logic. Go to a new class, create a new class. So the package name is testdemo. So I'm going to create my first Java class. Okay, so I'm giving the class name as my first Java class. So here you can write your logic. So this is how we write a normal Java class and logic inside a main method. Okay, let me just execute it. Right click, run as Java application. Okay, so your console will show the output as hello world. Okay, so suppose now I have to execute this logic using TestNg. Okay, so how do we execute the same thing in TestNg? Okay, so TestNg contains basically two main files. Okay, number one is a Java file with TestNg annotations. Number two, we need a TestNg XML file to execute. First we need a Java file. So here the same logic I am going to convert it into a TestNg. Okay, so in Java files, if in, okay, the same logic I am just going to implement differently. Okay, so instead of main method, I'm just changing my method name to my first TestNg method. Okay, so parenthesis. Right? How will the compiler identify that this is a TestNg method? So for each method we have to use @test annotation. Okay, so we need to first import org.testng.annotations. Okay, just remove the previous main method. Okay, so now the same hello world logic I'm going to execute using TestNg. Okay, so here we have to understand TestNg method. Okay, a method which has @test annotation is called TestNg method. Okay, so now my first TestNg method, this is a TestNg method. Okay, like this you can add any number of test methods. So how do you execute this? Right click. Okay, so run as. Previously when we ran main method, we got an option to run as a Java application, but now we have used TestNg annotation @test, and we are getting an option to run as a TestNg test. Okay, just run as a TestNg test. So TestNg will provide you reports also. Okay, see here, all the three methods got passed and we got the output of all the three methods. Okay, you can even see report of individual. Okay, so compared to a normal Java execution, TestNg execution will provide you a proper summary of your results. Okay, this is one advantage of TestNg. Fine. Okay, so till here we learned our first terminology called test method. Okay, TestNg method. So a method which has @annotation test is said to be a TestNg method. Okay, then what is a TestNg class? A class which contains at least one TestNg method is called TestNg class. Okay, got it. So here I have three test methods, right? So we call my first Java class as a TestNg class. Okay, so in Java file, these are the two terminologies that you have to understand. One is TestNg method. So a method which is containing @test annotation is called TestNg method. So TestNg class. So a class which contains at least one TestNg method is called TestNg class. Okay, so we are clear about these two terms. Okay, so now we are executing this manually by right clicking run as TestNg test. Okay, in TestNg we can run our TestNg class by using a TestNg XML file. Okay, so let's go create a TestNg XML file and see what are the terms that we have. What are the terms that we have to understand in a TestNg XML file? Okay, so let me create one XML file. New other XML file. Next, so I'm just naming this as a testng.xml. Okay, finish. Okay, and we got our XML file open. Okay, so in XML file you have to understand four terms. Okay, suit, test, class, method. Okay, so a TestNg method is represented by a method tag. Okay, a class is, a TestNg class is represented by a class tag. Okay, so when you are running a test, it is represented by test annotation. It is represented by test tag, and a suit is represented by suit tag. Okay, so in order to run our TestNg class, my first Java class is there, right? That is my TestNg class now. I have to call that. So how I have to do that? So the hierarchy is like this. First you need to create a suit. Okay, you can give your suit name as my TestNg suit. Okay, Inside a suit, we need to have a test. Okay, so you can give the name of your test as my first test. Okay, so a suit can contain multiple tests. Okay, and inside a test, we can call the classes that we want to execute. Okay, so I want to just, what I have to do here is just I have to give my class name along with the package name. Okay, so it should be TestNg demo dot my first Java class. Okay, so here you can execute like this. Right click, run as. So now you can see TestNg suit. Okay, so one thing, in order to identify this XML file as a TestNg file, we need to add this on the top. We'll see in deep about this later, but so this is required in order to understand that this is a TestNg XML file. Okay, so inside a test, actually we can provide many number of classes, right? So first you have to give classes, and inside that you name which class to be run. Okay, so now let's execute TestNg suit. See, now you can see all my three methods got executed from my TestNg XML file. Okay, so this hierarchy is important in TestNg. Like a suit can contain multiple tests. Okay, a test can contain multiple classes. Here classes in the sense TestNg classes. Okay, even inside a class you can choose to include or exclude only to execute few TestNg methods. Okay, so those and all in detail we will see later, but for now I just want you to understand the terminologies: test suit, a test, a TestNg class, a TestNg method. Okay, let's see in detail. So after this, till now we have seen only iterate test annotation, but for every point we will be having a before and after execution. Okay, okay, so now what, so how do we say this? So at every point in the sense, like if you go with the suit, you will have a before suit and after suit. If you go with the test, before test, after test. Okay, so class, before class, after class, and then method, before method, after method. And we also have concept called groups, so we can execute some logic before a group, after a group. Okay, all these annotations we will just go through in our next session. Okay, for now I want you all to be clear with suit, test, class, method. Okay, thank you.